Well, today we're going to pay a visit to Scrub Tor and the Tamar trails. It's a bit of a miserable day, lots of rain, but we are expecting a bit of sunshine later on. Let's hope so. Well, here we are at the Scrub Tor car park, and hopefully very shortly we'll start to see some sunshine. Yeah, you carry on. Lovely. Nice weather for ducks. Well, we're just starting to see the beautiful autumn colours and a gorgeous blue sky and some sunshine, even though it's been raining quite heavily. Well, we're walking along the main path now towards the lake, but I'll tell you, it really is very muddy underfoot. We've had a lot of rain, but well, at least we're out in the open air getting a bit of fresh air, and there is some dappled sunlight coming through the trees, so quite pretty really. It's about 9.5 degrees, so not particularly warm, but it's not freezing cold either. Unfortunately, as I'm walking along, because we've had such heavy rain, the drips coming off the trees mean that you can't really tell whether it's raining or whether it's just the drips from the trees from the previous rainfall. So we'll have to wait and see when we get into a more open area. Today I'm filming with the Osmo Pocket 3, and the microphone I'm using is the DJI version 2 microphone. The dense woodland here is fantastic, but very rarely do you see any deer, which I would expect to see here. I'm sure they're around, but I've yet to see any. This is giving a better view of just what a beautiful day it is. Lots of beautiful autumnal colours and glorious blue sky. Of course, Scrub Tor being in Cornwall, you can guarantee that wherever you go, you're going to find some hills. And here we are approaching the first one before we get to the lake at the top, close by Wheel Tor. Just saw a nice little squirrel go across the path. A good flow of water today. I suppose that's because of the heavy rain that we've had. So here we are, we've arrived at Wheel Fanny. One of my favourite places because the lake, which doesn't look inviting for humans, is certainly pretty good for the likes of kingfishers and certain species of wading duck, and it's a good place in the summer to come and film dragonflies. The water looks beautiful today, really quite still in this early morning autumn weather. No sign of any wildlife though. Obviously too cold. Well, they're not as stupid as me going out in the rain, who knows. Now this bit of the walk is very steep on a bike, and you've got to be really fit and have enough momentum to get up here. Actually, it's not much better walking, but there you go. So we're coming now onto the main Tamar trails, and then we'll go and have a look at some of the artifacts that are left from the tin mining days. Well, we're now at the top of the hill, thank goodness, and it's a little flatter. And we're heading towards what looks like a nice bit of sunshine. So hopefully the temperature will increase a little. We could certainly do with that at the minute. It's quite cold here. So here we are at the main picnic area on this first part of the walk. And as you can see, it's absolutely sodden, so I don't think I'm going to stop. I'll carry on and walk. I love this carpet of leaves. Makes for such a beautiful, beautiful scene. Such lovely colours. There's a lot to be said for autumn. Through the trees, this beautiful blue sky. Absolutely gorgeous day. Obviously these paths are absolutely ideal for cyclists, and so it is a major cycling route as well as walking. This is now Wheel Anna Maria, which is the calciner complex, or was the calciner complex. Obviously the buildings and grounds here contain arsenic contamination, and so you have to be careful. But nevertheless, a lot of history here. These are the remains of some of the calciners. Still in pretty good shape, to be honest, after all these years. Some details here of the refining process that was carried out here. This was the Duke of Bedford's arsenic works. In 1915, the Bedford estate began to employ miners to recover arsenic ore from the upper levels of the abandoned mine. By 1920, the price of arsenic had trebled and construction of the new refinery began. In 1925, the price of arsenic slumped again and the works closed. Well, now there's a familiar story. I wonder what this place would have been like when people were actually working here full time. And there's one of the stacks where the effluent was got rid of into the air during the refining process. This is a small museum that's been created here, just to show some of the activities that took place in this area, because it wasn't just arsenic and tin, but also copper. A nice spot to relax, I think. Unfortunately, still very wet and damp. We'll carry on and see if we can get to the activity cafe, which is not far away, and see if we can get a cup of coffee there or something. These are some of the spoils from the arsenic mining. Now I'll tell you a little story. Years ago, when I worked in South Africa and Rhodesia, I used to work on a gold mine, and a lot of the spoils were arsenic, and they were re-refined later because the degree of, or the level of gold that was in them was such that it made it worthwhile. However, people working there, if they retired at 60, would normally be dead within a year. And the reason was, whilst they were working there and they were having their lunch, they would not have washed their hands, and therefore they were ingesting a certain quantity of arsenic. Now, arsenic is a heart stimulant, so when they retired, the old heart was saying, well, where's my stimulant? And it wasn't there anymore, and it gave in. So most of these people died of heart attack. Sad story. Now, as you can probably see, the light has got significantly darker. Well, they did say sunny intervals and showers. It certainly looks as if we're going to be shower bound in the not too distant future. And I'm miles away from my car. Well, there you go. Let's hope we can get to the cafe before it starts. Although I can hear it, so I reckon it's already started. Fortunately, I'm covered at the minute by trees, so I might avoid the worst of it. Well, here we are, still walking along the path, and I seem to have avoided some of the rain, but I don't know for how much longer. Well, the respite in the rain didn't last very long. It's now tipping it down. Fortunately, I'm still under enough tree cover to not get too wet, but not a happy camper at the minute. So come on, stop. Let's see some more sun. Another body of water. Well, the rain seems to have stopped, and we can now make our way to the Sawmills car park, which is where the centre for activity is, such as tree surfing, hiking, mountain biking, etc. And they also have a cafe there. Now, this being a Sunday, I would hope that it's open, but you can never tell. Well, it's starting to drizzle with rain again, but nevertheless, we're almost at the Tamar Trail Centre, which is where the cafe is. So with a bit of luck, we'll remain dry. It'll then stop raining, and I'll walk the 4 miles back. If not, I might actually call my wife and say, come and pick me up. She'll be happy with that. This is one of the activities that they run from the Tamar Centre, which is tree surfing. Really exciting. Done that with the grandkids. I'm not sure I'd do it again. Well, here we are arriving at the car park, Sawmills car park. Please, please, please let the cafe be open. I could do with a cup of coffee or a cup of tea, and perhaps a nice scone. That would go down well, wouldn't it? Oh dear, oh dear. It certainly doesn't look as if there's a lot of activity. In fact, it's looking definitely closed. Oh, it's just not my day. Apart from the fact that the sun's come out, so, well, that's got to cheer you up, hasn't it? Well, the cafe's closed, so we're on our way back, but at least the weather's not any worse. It's not any better, there's still a bit of drizzle, but it's not any worse. So that's the end of our walk around Scrub Tor and Tamar Trails. I'll see you in the next one. Cheerio.